Hello, it's Libraries Week, or National Libraries Week, or maybe International Libraries Week. It's a Libraries Week of some kind, and it felt like the perfect opportunity for me to tell my story about how one library in particular led directly to me becoming the author of over 200 books. So buckle up, because it's a thrilling tale of, it's not that thrilling, but have a cup of tea or something. It's a nice opportunity to do that. I'll take about 4 minutes of your time. So if you want to make tea, pause and then come back. Otherwise, we'll just jump straight into it. So I was about 8 years old when I got taken by my teacher of my primary school to visit the library. There was a new librarian. Her name was Mrs. McAllister, and very nice she was too. Sadly, no longer with us. We went to the library. At that point, being 8 years old, I wasn't actually that big a reader. I wasn't really into reading books. I read a lot of comics. I read a load of comics, from British comics to American comics, which were harder to find in the Highlands of Scotland, let me tell you. But I read loads of different comics, not so many books. My teacher wasn't very pleased about that. And we went to the library this day, met Mrs. McAllister, and my teacher decided that she was going to, not ridicule is not quite the right word, but she was going to sort of make fun of me in a way, or just tell Mrs. McAllister that I liked comics in a way that was a bit sort of derogatory, as if to say, check out this idiot, he likes reading comics. Mrs. McAllister, however, went, oh, hang on a minute, and she went through the back of the library and she came back out with this massive stack of comics, Beanos and Dandies and some American comics and all kinds of stuff. And I thought this was amazing. This was the greatest thing that ever happened to me in my life until that point. And I went back to the library pretty much every day, and I would read some comics. And Mrs. McAllister was very clever. She was a bit like a kindly elderly drug dealer, I suppose, in that she used those free comics that she'd lured me in with as an opportunity to push the harder stuff on me. So when I was reading some comics, she would see that I was reading a comic about, I don't know, superheroes, for example, and she would go, oh, I've got a book about superheroes. Maybe you want to try that too. And she'd push this book on me, and I'd take it away and read it. And within about a year, less than that, within about 6 months, she'd converted me into like a dedicated reader of books. And I would go into the library, and whatever flight of fantasy had gripped me that week, I would go in and ask for a book about it. So I might go in and go, I want a book about aliens. And she would go, come with me to the alien section. And they would go and get a book from there. Or I'd say, I want a book about robots. And she'd go, the robots section is over here, let's go and get it. So she would get me a book about robots, and I would go home delighted by the library. And then one day I became obsessed with ninjas, the Japanese assassin martial arts people. I don't know why I felt the need to specify that. I don't think there's another kind of ninja. The fryer, the air fryer. It wasn't that. It was the assassin people. I was obsessed with them. Went into the library and said, I want a book about ninjas, and expecting her to take me to the ninja section. And it turned out there was no ninja section. She said, I don't have a book about ninjas. And I was like bereft. I felt betrayed by the library. I felt it had let me down. And then Mrs. McAllister said, but hang on a minute. And she went through the back again, and she came back out with a notebook and a pen. And she said, go and write a book about ninjas. So I went home, and over the next few nights I wrote this terrible story about ninjas, brought it back in, and to her eternal credit, Mrs. McAllister read the book, read the story, bless her, and it genuinely was awful. But she read it, and then she took a pen and she wrote my name on the spine of the book, and she put it on the shelf next to the other books. And you know that thing in movies where like the clouds part and there's the big sort of shaft of sunlight comes down and choir of angels in the background? It was a bit like that, seeing my book with my name on it on the shelf alongside all the other books. And I thought at that point, I think I'll be an author. And kind of just shy of 40 years later, I've now written 200 odd books. I have written for the Beano as well, which I'm sure Mrs. McAllister would be very happy about. And hopefully we'll be continuing to write for many years to come. And it all stemmed from that library attached to my school, that one librarian who literally changed the entire path of my life. So please, this week, and always, but specifically this week, please try and support your local library. Go in, if you're not a member, get a membership. It's dead easy. They'll love to see you. If you are a member and you haven't used it in a while, go in there, borrow a book, see what they've got, and just try and support them as much as you can, because they need it now more than ever. And if we don't support them, then they're not going to be around forever, and nobody wants that. So this week, go to your library, get a membership, or use your membership. That is all I ask. And you'll have a lovely time. You'll meet some nice people, have a lovely time. Enjoy it. And that's it for me today. So thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed your cup of tea if you had one. And I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.